You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K25. And if you want to support the show, hit the link in the description and pre-order your copy of NBA 2K25. You get lots of added benefits, so make sure you get involved and support us by helping yourself to the best game of the year. It's myself, Mooncey, alongside me as always, the one and only Mr. Scott Perry, and making a rare appearance on the podcast, Mr. BJ Armstrong. Even though his face is on the cover, he's been slacking off work.
Mo's got jokes.
I had a conversation with a friend. This isn't a joke. And I said, man, I'm tired as hell. He said, yeah, you are. Because sometimes BJ don't do the podcast. Sometimes Scott don't do the podcast. Sometimes neither of them do the podcast. But you're there every day. I feel like I need to teach you guys how to use all the editing software, and I'm going to go take a holiday because, boy, 530 episodes deep, I feel like I deserve some sort of rest. But
yeah, you do.
It's the off season. We can talk about more off season moves. We're going to kick this off by talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. But before we do that, I heard a quote from Paul George today. I don't know if you guys saw this. He said that reflecting on his time with the Clippers, he said that playing for the Clippers felt like playing for the B team in LA. And I thought that was a little disrespectful, given that everything they traded for him, Shea and all their picks for the rest of eternity. And given how he did so many interviews talking about how he wants to be a Clipper for the rest of his career, so on and so forth. And now he's over with the Sixers. He's talking a little smack. What do you guys make of those comments from Paul George?
Well, did he say that while he was playing there?
No, he said it now.
That's my question. I know you just said now. That's what I'm saying. He didn't say it while he was playing there. So, I really don't.
But when he did his press conference, when he signed there, he said he grew up a Clippers fan.
Oh, no question. Yeah, no. Look, it's reminds me a little bit of the whole, obviously I'm partial because I worked at the Knicks, but the Knicks Brooklyn argument. There's many more Knicks fans in New York.
Yeah,
and even in Brooklyn.
In the rest of the world, too.
In the rest of the world, too, but in that area. And the Lakers are one of the original franchises, iconic franchise. So it's always going to be a tough competition for the Clippers, to overtake the popularity of the Lakers, because this has been passed on for generations. Kids have been raised to be Lakers fans. And then when they grow up, they have kids and raise them to be Lakers fans. Just like what I watched happen with the Knicks. Knicks fans, raise their kids to be Knicks fans and so on and so forth. And it's hard if you're Brooklyn or the Clippers to interrupt that cycle. And that's just a fact.
BJ, did you ever want to talk a little smack about one of your former teams after you left? Or is that just the Paul George thing?
Mo, believe it or not, there used to be a thing called professionalism. And now all of this chatter, things that, some things don't need to be said, and you got the right to feel however you want to feel. But in our day, you never let your feelings get in the way of your business. And as far as I can tell, with Steve Ballmer and company, on the 1st and the 15th, everything cleared. That's the business we're in. And if you want to change that perception, then there's only one way to do it. You got to win. That's how if you want to change something in this league, there's one thing that has to be done. There's no way around it. That's called performance. So all of the things, you can talk your way to a lot of things in life, but when it comes to sports, in particular professional sports, you have to perform. So however you feel, but the game starts at 7:30. All the talking must stop then, and you got to do it. You got to perform. So that's fine. It is what it is. And let's see what happens in the city of brotherly love. Well, because they're going to be in real time up there. Okay. I saw them boo Santa Claus. Okay. They boo it. So again, I'm just going to talk, and you heard me say this, and Scott's probably never heard me say this, but the audience has heard me say this. I like to stay on the court. Mo loves to talk about off the court and what people are doing. I like to stay on the court. So I'm just going to keep my comments to what Paul George, what he does in between those lines. And I'm going to have a lot to say this year because I'm expecting that group to produce.
Well,
it's at minimum they got to make the conference final.
That's what I'm saying.
We can get
minimum,
to that.
at
We
minimum.
can get to that.
So
But
this, because Big Moses was there, the late Big Moses, rest in peace. Barkley was there. Dr. J was there.
J.
One of my favorite players, Andrew Toney, was there. Mo Cheeks.
Cheek.
So I know that's the A team.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
hey. Don't forget George McGinnis.
George McGinnis was there.
Here's the thing.
Here's
the thing.
Allen Iverson
Was
took him to the
there.
finals.
Exactly.
So,
but here's the thing
with
on
the
Paul
short
George.
roster. Yeah.
Here's the thing on Paul George. Either he grew up a Clippers fan or he felt like he was playing for the B team in LA. All I know is the way this man's lying. Are we sure that he's not running for president now that Joe Biden stepped down? Because this is a line that you only see in a level of politics.
I don't know. Like I said, I have no comments there. But
I do.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you have it. But I will have comments during the season.
Here's what I will say, and this is why you should have comments during the season. The Sixers, on paper, have put together a very nice offseason. They picked up Jared McCain in the draft. They picked up Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon. Kelly Oubre signed a team-friendly deal. Then they went out and got Paul George. They gave Tyrese Maxey an extension. They managed to poach Caleb Martin from the Miami Heat by paying him less money than what the Miami Heat offered. They re-signed Kyle Lowry on a minimum. And now they're getting even deeper because Reggie Jackson was waived by the Hornets and he intends to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. What do you think about Reggie Jackson joining this squad, given that they've already just signed Kyle Lowry and Tyrese Maxey is going to be taking up the majority of those minutes at the point guard spot?
How I look at it, you never can have too much insurance when you putting yourself in position, and the stated goal is to get to an NBA Finals with a chance to win a championship. And I just said it a second ago. Bare minimum Eastern Conference Finals. Look, Kyle Lowry, excellent veteran point guard, but he's getting up there in age. And Reggie Jackson is a veteran player too. What's Reggie Jackson now? 32, 33 years old. So 34. Yeah. So he having that veteran presence there and making sure, you obviously hope both of them remain healthy for the entire season. But I look at it as additional assurance at that guard position. Guys got a lot of playoff experience, and you just never know. BJ knows this all too well. Regular season has always been a battle of attrition in this league. And so if you got another veteran body who can play some different stints throughout the season to help your cause and win enough games to put you in position to host a number of home playoff games. Because, look, if you're Philadelphia, you got to be shooting for a 1 or 2 seed in this Eastern Conference is well done the regular season, so that you can put yourself in position to be hosting at least the first 2 rounds, and maybe even host the finals round, the Eastern Conference Finals round. So that's how I look at it.
BJ, what's your take?
Again, I look at the roster and I'm going, okay, I got 35 minutes plus for Tyrese Maxey, so I don't know how they're going to divide up the other, what is that, 13 other minutes at the point guard position or lead guard position. All right. Great names. Kyle Lowry, great names, who you just said, what's the kid you just mentioned?
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson. Okay, those are great names, but Tyrese Maxey is 40 minutes plus when the playoffs begin. So I'm not into that. And so I'm looking at it going, okay, the 2 guard is Paul George. That's 35 minutes plus.
Who you playing your 3 and your 4? Because the 4 seems to be the area
I'm
looking
at the roster right now.
Kelly Oubre,
you said that.
Kelly Oubre is going to play.
Okay, I there is a certain level of physicality that you got to bring to the game.
So also, Scott, if you play Kelly Oubre at the 4, who are you playing at the 3?
Not at the 4. No, not at the 4. I said at the 3.
So who you got at the 4 though? This
Dude,
is my question about the
actually, I
Sixers.
would have Oubre at the 2, and I'd be trying to play Paul George at the 3. To be honest with you.
But that power forward spot is my area for concern with them.
Yeah. I'm looking at the roster going, okay. I mean, I don't know the health of Joel Embiid.
He's looking slow as hell out there in the Olympic warm-up games.
I don't know what that is. And
I
then
saw him block a shot and take about 10 minutes to stand up off the floor after.
I'm looking at all of the dirty work that's necessary to win. When you're talking about winning a championship and building a championship caliber team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see this as an incomplete roster. Do I like the names? Names I think could look good, but I'm looking at the team. Like I don't see, the necessary pieces.
They don't have a prototypical four-man.
Yeah, I don't see
on the roster. I agree with that. Yeah,
and Paul George has not shown me over his years to be able to play off the ball. He needs that ball in his hand to play one-on-one and do all those things. Now, Tyrese Maxey, we've seen this when you try to take the ball out of Maxey's hands. With the ball in his hands, he's an all-star. When you put James Harden in there, then he floats. Mo heard me say this all year. Tyrese Maxey is an all-star caliber player.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Tyrese Maxey is going to have that ball. Didn't he just get the max, if I recall?
Yep,
He just got the
yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah. He waited. Gave the team a chance to.
So Tyrese Maxey, based on what I can see, but again, I get it. It's a new game and everybody paces the space. Tyrese Maxey can play downhill. I'm a roll with that. Now, that man there is as fast as I've seen in the league in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anyone else as durable as him on that roster and can play at that pace. What is absolutely necessary if you're going to win in this league. Now, Paul George, I don't know what that health situation is. And Joel Embiid, I don't know. If they're healthy, I like their chances. However, I'm still concerned about players I'm concerned about their role players being able to do all of the necessary small things.
Not enough dogs up there in Philly is what you're saying.
I'm not saying dogs. I'm concerned about players who can do the small things. Someone's got to set some screens. Someone's going to have to guard the other players' best players. Someone's going to have to get the loose ball. Someone's going to have to play with a certain level of physicality. Someone's going to have to do all of those things so that those star players can be stars. I like what they're doing, but I think this is incomplete as is.
Yeah. They're going to have to do those little things. That's Caleb Martin and Kelly Oubre. But both of those guys are 6'5".
Yeah, I think the lineup they'll go with is Maxey, Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. And those three guys, I guess you can kind of switch them because they're all kind of the same size in Oubre, Martin, and Paul George. But, when you come up against bigger teams, like how are you going to guard, let's say, for example, the Milwaukee Bucks, if Giannis is playing the 4? How are you going to guard the Cleveland Cavaliers? Because Mobley just got that huge extension and we expect to see some growth from him. How are you going to guard even the Boston Celtics? Because we've seen Jason Tatum cook Paul George every time he faces.
How they going to guard Julius Randle?
Yeah.
I don't.
There's no matchup
of
Julius Randle on there,
Yeah.
So.
So when you look at the Sixers, do you think they won't actually beat their second round demons again this year?
It's so early, Mo, because you have to believe there's another move in there somewhere. Whether it is, it probably have to end up being a trade at some point to get that size in there.
Knowing the Sixers and led by Daryl Morey, it's got to be someone who formerly was a Houston Rocket during his tenure there, because that's what he seems to love signing. They had Robert Covington. I don't know if they'll try bring him back. They've had PJ Tucker there. There's an option. I mean, there's a limited run.
If the Knicks are healthy, and that's really pointed mostly towards Mitchell Robinson. And I know Julius missed a lot last year, but Julius over the last 4 or 5 years prior to this past season has been pretty doggone durable. Played a lot of games. There's not a matchup at the 4 for them. The Sixers, they'll struggle matching up against him, and then the Knicks will have enough on the wings. They have enough length, athleticism. I don't know that they're I don't know that they're better than the Knicks as I look at it right now on paper. Because I wasn't when you guys point out a great point. Man, it's a big hole at that 4 position due to size, lack of size there. Okay, yeah, you got some decent athletes that are hustle and and Oubre and Caleb Martin. But man, again, that's 6'5" playing those positions now. Okay, you might be able to get away with it at certain points in the regular season because teams play small and all that kind of stuff. But again, you have to, and BJ knows this better than anybody. Even during that trek during the regular season, you're preparing to be a great playoff team if you're trying to win a championship. You follow what I'm saying? So you can, your preparation is ongoing, getting to that point. So, so if they show up in the playoffs and they still start 6'5" at the 4 position,
Randall, OG, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. Those
Physical
are
team.
the bodies that translate that we know to the physical brand of basketball that will be played, provided everyone is healthy.
It's healthy, exactly.
Okay, you know what I mean. And Jaylen Brown and Al Horford and all that translates.
No, we know Al Horford loves playing against the Sixers.
That's what I'm saying. That translates. Okay, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna, like I said, it's incomplete. I'm going to assume that Durham Moran Company, they're going to do something to address this. But if you're asking me right now, as is, and Julius Randle and OG are playing at the 3 and the 4, and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart's coming off the bench at the 2. No, I'm going to, and Mitchell Robinson is a physical player. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like that better coming into the playoffs if you're asking me today.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
We talked about Reggie Jackson joining this team, and another player that's changed teams over the offseason is Russell Westbrook, who is now with the Denver Nuggets, just 1 year removed from their championship. We talked a lot during the course of the season. It feels like every week we talked about the lack of depth for the Nuggets, and now they've lost KCP, they've lost even more depth. They're obviously hoping for a lot of growth internally from some of the players that they've got on the roster, especially the young guys. The kid they drafted this year has already, I think, torn his Achilles, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be out for the season.
Yes, he did. He did in summer league. Yes,
they've added Russell Westbrook. How do you like the fit of Russell Westbrook in Denver?
Right now, it appears to me that the Denver Nuggets are having what I would say. Sometimes, Scott, as you know, there can be healthy conflict between your executives and your coaches. Clearly, this team is ready to win now. And when you put the right pieces around Jokic and Murray, they have a chance. Okay. Now, they've lost KCP, which I thought was a
big loss.
That's a big loss. Okay.
Yeah, big loss. Yeah.
What's the kid that they lost? They lost 2 kids. They
Bruce
lost
Brown.
Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, right?
Calling
Bruce Brown.
Calling Jeff Green a kid is a great compliment to Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, Uncle Jeff is he's ageless. Okay, he's timeless. That guy just keeps going. That guy keeps dunking on people. So he's a kid.
Yeah.
Now I thought it was a big sign when they lost those 2 players because both of those players finished games for them in the playoffs.
Yep.
They weren't just role players. They were key role players who found, in my opinion, a home on a championship caliber team who gave them a different look from their starting team. And they contributed in a way that they were like key contributors to that championship. Now, were they role players and bench players? Yes. I think there's something going on there because you can't tell me with Jokic, last year's MVP,
in his
prime,
prime,
that they should not be going for it every year. And now they've lost 3 players, and Jamal Murray's health seems to be a concern. Now, I know he had an ACL, a couple years ago or 2 or 3 years ago. He recovered, but he had some injuries last year in the playoffs. it appears to be that, there's something going on there. I don't know. I'm not there, but I'm concerned now because I'm expecting them to build a championship caliber roster every year. And right now, losing KCP, I have concerns now because that young man was, he guarded everyone on the other team, right? And he found his niche with that group, so much so that he was highly coveted by the Orlando Magic. Is that who
KCP?
got
Yep.
him? Yeah,
Yes,
KCP.
yes, yep.
So I'm concerned now what's going on between the front office and the coaches because there seems to be a little friction there. I don't know this. I'm just observing from afar, and I'm not saying there is something. But when you start losing key contributors to a championship caliber team, at the very least, you allow that team to have opportunity to defend it.
Yeah.
And they didn't even give that team a year, the following year to defend it. Okay. And so I'm a little concerned now. And now to me, losing KCP, that's a big blow to a championship caliber group when your best player, Jokic, is in his prime.
Yeah.
So I think Russell works. I like Russell, as you guys know.
Yeah.
I'm concerned now.
I think they're trying to stay under that second apron or get under that second apron. And I think it comes down to ownership not wanting to spend that money. But if you are 1 year removed from a championship and you have the best player in the world in his prime, if you're not willing to spend that money, then sell the team.
Boy, you got him. Boy, you coming hard today. You want to get the guy to sell the team.
I got no love for the Nuggets owners because they own Arsenal FC in the Premier League, who are rivals with, so I got no love for them.
But let me address kind of what one of the things BJ talked about again. I'm not there either, but obviously you read a little bit and you hear a little bit. And there seems to be a disconnect right now between front office, coaching staff. And see, this is your job, as a front office person and as a former coach, I always thought I had a pretty good handle and understanding of that look, coaches always live in the now and in the immediate. You can't, it's hard for coaches to be looking 2, 3, 4 years out. Especially when you got a guy like Nikola Jokic in his prime, 3-time MVP. You just won a championship 2 years ago. You're trying to stay in that moment until the wheels come off, and then you regroup. What they're doing, sometimes front offices can get caught in the battle of, okay, we're up against it financially, and they want to see their younger draft picks play. So Christian Brown is one of their picks. Peyton Watson is a recent pick. So what this says to me is that the front office is saying, no, we got to develop guys in-house who are cheaper labor because they're on their rookie scale deals. Let's incorporate them, play. It's incumbent upon us to play them and have them help us win and keep the train moving. Whereas if you coach and this front office people too would feel differently and say, no, let's get as many veteran guys as we can get in here now and make sure that we're in these conference finals, going to the finals each and every year during Jokic's run. And so that is what I think is at the core. Again, I'm not there, but that is my best and most experienced observation, kind of watching it from afar, and have seen these internal struggles before. That's what I'm seeing there. So now this is going to be all about Christian Braun this season. What kind of step can he take? Now, that's why if you're in the front office, if you're Calvin Booth, he's hoping that this kid is really ready to make a big jump and take over for KCP. Now, I'm not so sure, so sure he's ready to do that yet. KCP's won 2 world titles. One with the Lakers and one with Denver. So Be interesting to see. Be interesting to see. But in terms of Russ, I just love his competitiveness on a roster. So, is he going to make the difference for them getting back to the finals? That I don't know. But I love having that competitor in my locker room. And I know one thing: when the whistle, when the ball is jumped up to start the game, and that whistle, that final horn goes off, that guy's gonna give you everything he has.
Yep.
And you love
And
having guys like that.
and Russell Westbrook broke the triple-double record against them Nuggets. I believe there was a season where he hit a game-winning shot, which kind of eliminated the Nuggets from playoff contention. And he's had numerous kind of almost altercations with the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, who everyone else in the NBA seems to be afraid of. So there's no doubt he'll command the respect of the locker room, which is something that I really like. And I've heard a rumor that this is the first time ever that Nikola Jokic has gone to the front office and said to them he wants to play with player X, and player X being Russell Westbrook. This is the first time he's ever told them about a move he wants to make. So
I tell you,
Jokic, with his basketball IQ, must be seeing something.
He's earned himself some more trips too, by the way, Mo, to do that. More trips to the front office.
Yeah, exactly. Like we hear about other superstars who pretty much run their team's front office decisions. LeBron. But it's nice for Jokic wanting to have Russell Westbrook with him, who doesn't want to play with an elite competitor. But Scott, when we were doing the podcast while BJ was busy in Las Vegas, we talked a bit about the Milwaukee Bucks in one of the episodes last week. And as luck would have it, as soon as we finished recording the episode, the Milwaukee Bucks made what I think could pay off to be the best veteran minimum signing of the offseason, because they managed to secure Gary Trent Jr. Because we spent a lot of time talking about they need some perimeter defense at that guard position, and they managed to get him. He had offers for more than a veteran minimum elsewhere, according to different sources, but they managed to sign Gary Trent Jr. to play at that 2 spot alongside Damian Lillard. Gary Trent Jr. can be a player that can come in and play some good defense and knock down some threes. How much more confident does this make you about the Milwaukee Bucks if we're now looking at Dame, Gary Trent, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Brook Lopez, and then your bench, you've got Delon Wright, you've got Taurean Prince, AJ Green, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, and Jackson as well. So how much more confident does this signing make you? Because it does address a glaring need and a glaring weakness that the Milwaukee Bucks had.
Well, like I said to you the other day, Mo, Giannis is like the Miami Heat for me. I don't count him out until he is.
Giannis is a little better than the Miami Heat for me.
Exactly. No, but what I mean by that, the guy's gonna compete. He's one of the elite players in the league. He's gonna give that team a chance. I still have a concern about the Bucks' age a little bit in athleticism going through the regular season. Again, I think so much for how can Chris Middleton come back? Can Chris Middleton come back fully healthy and give you an entire season? To me, that's going to be the key. If he does that, then the Bucks are, to me, a legitimate title threat again. But again, that's a big if, because he's missed a lot of time over the last couple of seasons and has battled a lot of different injuries. And I know Chris Middleton was in Detroit.
You drafted Chris Middleton, didn't you?
We were in Detroit when we drafted Chris. So to watch him grow and to the player that he's become, I mean, he's had an awesome career. But he is going to be so key. Mo, you and I also had talked about Brook Lopez. Now, Brook Lopez has gotten up there in age. Who can they have as a backup to help him get through the regular season? I still think he has some good basketball left in him. But again, that 82-game grind, I don't want him to waste all of his play and all of his energy during that regular season if I can find a way to buy him some time where he's not playing as many minutes or as many games during the regular season. So those are my biggest concerns about the Bucks. Still, I do like Gary Trent. I think Gary Trent is an upgrade from what they had starting last year, quite frankly, over Malik Beasley. I think he will try to give you a good defensive effort. That's going to be important next to Dame Lillard. And Dame, that's going to be important to see what Dame is ever able to do this year in terms of his comfort level of playing with this team now. He's okay. He got the first year out the way. Now, Doc Rivers came in at the middle of the season. Now they're going to have a full training camp with Doc Rivers. So this is a make or break year for the Bucks to me, with this group that they have here now. So again, let's see what happens.
And you got to remember, these guys played together on the Portland Trailblazers. And Dame and Gary Trent Jr. both had some of their best games when they were playing alongside each other in the bubble. So that familiarity and that comfort for this backcourt is there already with that experience together in Portland.
I'm still, again, like I said, I'm worried about Middleton. I got to see what he looks like. And still defensively, you're not big at the guard positions. Dame is a smaller guard. And we've talked about him. Dame is,
what is he about?
A below average defender.
34, 35?
At 34, 35. So you can't expect him to be applying a lot of pressure on the perimeter defensively. So it's just going to be interesting to see the lineups that Doc uses, what kind of schemes he tries to use defensively, because he knows, as do the players know, just the importance that defense plays if you're trying to be a champion. They were subpar in that area last year, and that was along with Giannis's injury and Middleton's injury, helped derail them. So they got to figure that out come training camp. And I know this summer, last thing I'll say, from what I understand, and BJ was out there at Summer League, Jackson, Andre Jackson, and Beauchamp didn't have really good summer leagues. Again, the Summer League, but I'm sure that they wanted to see those guys play better and show that they were more ready to contribute for the upcoming season. So, because they don't have, draft picks to go out and, trade to go get players, and they don't have a roster full of guys that may be, they have some appealing guys on the roster, but they're not trying to give those guys up in order to win. They're back end rotational guys. I don't know how much value they have around the league. So my opinion, educated opinion, is they probably don't have much. And so now, again, this group, they're stuck with this group, and this group has to perform and take them back at minimum to a conference finals, not a final. And we'll see.
BJ, what's your take on the Bucks?
Well, last year it was total chaos.
Understatement.
It was total chaos. And what happened? There's no doubt about it. I don't even want to revisit it, but they had a lot of changes. Doc comes in, and clearly the season was a disappointment for them, especially when you have a player like Giannis. And he was injured there, so now they get to run this back. Now, I'm not sure, as is, when I look at the roster here, that this team is ready to play 82 games plus and win 16 games in the NBA Finals, just from a defensive standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, defensively, this team had some problems. And I'm not blaming one person, because you play team defense. They have a former defensive player of the year, Giannis, so we know he can play at an elite level. Just 2 years ago, I think he finished second in the voting, Brook Lopez, defensively. And then all of a sudden this year, they were just terrible. I don't know where they finished at, but they were in the bottom half of the league as far as on the defensive end. And being an ex-guard, as you age, that's not one of your strong. That's not a good place to be in as a small guard.
And Drew Holiday was busy winning a championship in Boston.
Okay, okay, I'm going to let Bo tackle that. Okay, but I want to say this: they have some issues that they have to address, and it's not about offense. Scoring wise, they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Defensively, and we talk about pace, and we talk about playing at a certain rhythm and flow to the game. I didn't like the pace in which this team played on the offensive end. They need to infuse some youth to this group. I like the veterans, but I'm trying to say it in a nice, kind way. They need to infuse some athleticism, some speed to go with these veterans, and they need to have that balance because those veterans are going to need some help getting through the regular season. And they're going to need to be able to play different styles of play, especially when they run against those young teams that are going to be playing fast and athletic and pace and space, 5-out basketball and all of those things. So they have star names. They have, I think, terrific players. I think those guys are capable of finishing the game. However, we can't forget about the work. And the work is those 82 games are staring in front of this team. And I think that's going to be a problem for this group if they come into training camp right here. It's so much of a problem now that I think they're going to have to make some major moves if this thing doesn't turn out at least to a conference finals. Now, we talk about Philly. We're talking about the Knicks. Mo, we're talking about your Celtics. And now we're talking about the Bucks. Well, 2, maybe 3, or maybe all 4 of them won't get there. And that won't be good for this group. Especially this
BJ,
group.
let me ask you this.
And let's understand, and let's not forget, Orlando got better this offseason.
Right.
It was a playoff team. Pacers.
Caps.
Went to the conference final. Cavaliers.
Right.
Retained their group pretty much. They got a new coach.
So,
so
I think it's going to be tough for this group. I think this group is at its moment of truth. And if they get back to the conference finals, okay. But if they don't, I'm expecting some changes to happen there. And I think sooner rather than later. With this group.
Yeah, no question.
BJ, let me ask you this. We talked about the Sixers earlier on. We were just talking about the Bucks. Which of those teams are you more confident in?
About the Bucks and who? And the Sixers?
The Sixers, yeah.
I'm going to say Tyrese Maxey right now. Because getting through the regular season. Look, Giannis is Giannis. However, if Giannis misses any substantial amount of time, I just don't see that happening for the Bucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So during the regular season, Tyrese Maxey can play that pace the regular season.
Yeah.
And
I look at it this way. No, and I agree with it. I look at it this way. You got to figure Joel Embiid is going to miss a minimum of 15 games this year, right?
Right.
A minimum. He may try to play 65 to get back into the MVP race, so that means he can miss 17. And then you talk about Giannis, being the star of Milwaukee. Which team can stay afloat the best without their best guy during the regular season?
I think it's Philly for sure.
And I think because you talk about the younger Maxey being able to carry it, the additions they made, and they added Paul George.
But Embiid's health concerns are far more significant than Giannis' health concerns. And if Embiid's injured, you're playing Andre Drummond as your starting center?
No, but I'm saying in the regular season, if they both, let's say they both miss 15 games.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which roster?
Oh, Philly then.
Remaining players, gonna play.
But let me ask you guys
that's why I would have Philadelphia ahead of Milwaukee right now.
Let me ask you this: who's a better duo, Maxey and Embiid or Damian Giannis? Which duo would you rather have? And you got to go through 82 games and the playoffs. Which duo would you rather have?
Wow. This might be contrary to, what you've heard me say a lot all the time. I would lean towards the Philadelphia group.
Embiid and Maxey?
Yes. Embiid's been an MVP. Maxey's going to be, he was an all-star this year and will, for as long as he stays healthy, will be a perennial all-star at the guard position. And you talking about a regular season, just energy night in, night out. He gives me more defensively than what Dame can give me at age 34 as well. And look, Giannis is tremendous. He's more versatile than Joel Embiid. defensively he can get out. He can, pretty much Giannis can guard 1 through 5 pretty much. And so, I love that about him. But Joel Embiid, if he's healthy, Giannis is healthy, nobody can stop Joel Embiid in the NBA games. I mean, he scores at will. He's gonna get to the free throw line, Mo. I know how much you love seeing him go to the free throw line. So I would favor that duo right now, considering that both are healthy.
What about you, BJ?
Milwaukee Bucks.
Dame and Giannis.
And here's why. I have to consider and look at this, and Scott taught me this. I have to look at the game from a new lens. The best ability is availability. And the word if is very important. If Joel is healthy. Okay, well, we can have that's a legit, you flip up a coin and you say, you know what? It's like you got the number 2 pick. Well, if you get number 1, you get to choose between Giannis and Joel. But hey, if you take Joel and Giannis falls to me at 2,
oh yeah, no, exactly.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about that. Okay. Now Dame is up there in age right now. Is 30. He's 34. He's still a very productive player. But you know what? I just can't bet against Giannis when it comes down. When you got to go when you putting everything on the line. Giannis is going to give you everything.
Oh no, he gives you everything you got.
Yeah, and I just can't. I can't. But if
tough
you
for
use
me
the
to
word
say.
if, if you say if you use that word if,
yeah, and I qualified mine with if. I'll be honest with you. I said
Every conversation about the Sixers and Joel Embiid is qualified with if. Every discussion ever about Embiid is if Embiid could stay healthy, he'd be one of the best big men of all time. If Embiid played this many games, he'd be the MVP. If I'm sick of it.
I'm going with Giannis, and he's going to show up and he's going to give me what he has. And you know what? I'll take my chances.
It's funny that you said that. Yeah, if it was a 1-to-1, Giannis versus Joel, and we kind of answered it before. Milwaukee without Giannis they're going to be toast in the regular season. Philadelphia, they're not as good without Joel, but they can keep the ship. They can keep the ship afloat like they did last year to make it to the playoffs, even though they went, playing.
And I think Drummond is going to be a good pickup.
Yes, he will be.
Drummond will come out. Drummond is capable of doing a 20-20 as a backup in this league.
Because 10 of those 20 rebounds are him catching his own misses off the backboard when his layups hit the backboard and come back to him.
But to your point,
this is one thing I'm sick of is everyone talking about Andre Drummond being a historic rebounder. I watch him play. Come on, man. Come on.
Hey,
don't give me 20 and 20 from Andre.
I'm not gonna get stuck on Drummond. But what I was gonna say, but he's serviceable.
Yes.
I don't know, but there's nobody serviceable behind Giannis. Of course, Drummond can't make up for the scoring and all that stuff that Embiid does, but he's a big body, and he will rebound the basketball. And you got, when you drive the lane, you got to respect him. He's, you got to make your mind up that, okay, I'm gonna go in here. This big fella can knock me down. He may catch my shot. So, but the reason what tilted it for me when you talk to twosome, see, I took the other side of it. I took Maxey over Dame Lillard.
And that outweighs the difference between. So you think the difference between Maxey and Dame is
because of the youth.
Embiid
yes, because of the youth, the energy, is Dame more accomplished? Yeah, he's been in the league longer, he's done a lot. But watching this kid, I mean, I don't see any regression anytime soon in this kid's game. I think he's just gonna keep getting better and better. And his confidence, after what he did in the playoffs, especially when they went and had that big win in New York in that playoff series, his confidence is gonna be off the charts. And he's gonna be really tough to deal with. And then so that's why the twosome, I'm giving him that much more. I don't, respect maybe is not the word, but I'm giving him, more credit for where he's at in his game today versus Dame Lillard. And so, so anyway, again, like at the end of the day, if it was a pick thing and I got the second pick and you told me I can end up with either one of those twosomes, there's a whole lot worse problems than that.
Exactly.
I would just try to find a way to get Maxey with Giannis. Then it's a win.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Now, if it was Maxey and Giannis, it might not be fair.
Yeah.
It'd be a real problem.
Yes.
Well, let us know on social media. Join the Discord. It's linked in the description. Let us know which duo you would pick. I know there's going to be some angry Philly fans, and I know there's going to be some angry Bucks fans because sports fans love to be angry. And I know if Andre Drummond's listening, he'll be angry as well. But that's been another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. I appreciate both of you fellas for joining me once again. And make sure you subscribe to the show, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. We'll be back with more. Hopefully some stuff happens that we get to talk about because we're just waiting for the Olympics to roll around. So BJ, make some calls, get some trades happening or get some players signed because we need something to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good. I can't wait for the season to get underway. So until next time, get buckets.